Welcome to Catholic Views. I'm your host, Renee Kranz. On today's show, we will have Ryan and Tara Vandenbos in the studio. We'll hear about their story of coming into the Catholic Church. Tara was not Catholic. Ryan was baptized Catholic, but not really Catholic most of his life. So their entire family, Ryan and Tara and their kids, came into the church this past Easter. So stick with us and hear their story of their conversion. O'Gorman has a lot to do with it. So all you O'Gorman fans out there, stick around to hear how that happened. First, we have some biblical bites with Dr. B, who is sitting across from me.
Yes.
Chewing on his cough drop or something.
I'm not chewing on it. I'm whatever. What's today, Renee?
Enjoying it greatly.
Yes, enjoy it. There we go. There we go. Yeah.
It is the 11th Sunday of Ordinary Time.
Is indeed. And in our 3-year cycle, ABC, do you happen to remember what year we're in?
B?
Are you sure?
No.
Oh, well, you should
B.
be. Yeah, it's B. So that means that most Sundays in the year we're hearing from which gospel?
Mark?
You are
Everything's a question, though.
3
You
for 3.
notice that?
I did know. But you're doing well. Be confident, Renee. So I want to focus today on the gospel reading. We get, as you just said, it comes from Mark, and what Jesus does. This is from Mark chapter 4, and he's telling some of his parables about the kingdom of God, about the church, and then God's work even outside the church, in terms of how the growth happened. Like what the first one, for example, this is how it is with the kingdom of God. It's as if a man were to scatter seed in the land, sleep, rise night and day, and through it all the seed would sprout and grow. He knows not how, right? So the Lord is always at work, and seeds that are planted sprout up by his grace and so on. And then the next one, to what shall we compare the kingdom of God, or what parable can we use for it? It's like a mustard seed. That's when it's sown in the ground, smallest of all the earth. And when it's sown, it springs up because the largest of plants, right? But this is the end of...
That was the first one that came to my mind when you said
the kingdom.
The mustard seed,
yeah. This is the end of the reading that we hear at Mass today. With many such parables, he spoke the word to them as they were able to understand it. Without parables, he did not speak to them, but to his own disciples, he explained everything in private. So there's a couple things there. So Jesus is, because he's God, it goes with the territory. He's a masterful teacher. So he speaks to people in a way, Jesus does not use highfalutin, abstract theological terms with the crowds. And even, frankly, with his disciples, he doesn't use a lot of multisyllabic words.
He uses simple, plain language for the most part.
And images for the most part. So he uses parables to communicate with disciples and others alike. Again, with many such parables, he spoke the word to them as they were able to understand it. Without parables, he did not speak to them, but to his own disciples, he explained everything in private. So again, he uses parables with the crowds, but then we do get this intriguing thing at the end. But to his own disciples, he explained everything in private. Why doesn't he explain everything in public? Like, what? Why does he save the explain? Because sometimes the parables are a little. Sometimes they're pretty clear. Okay, I get it. Sometimes they are a little bit. Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, I would say it's funny that you're bringing this one up right now. So I would say that first that it's because the rest of the people are not around Jesus all the time.
Yep.
So they maybe aren't ready for the things that he's telling the disciples. So interestingly, last night, the season 4 of The Chosen is just now being finally released to normal, regular people who didn't go to the theater.
Because normal, regular people don't go to theaters.
Well,
but
sometimes
anyway,
we just don't have time to go 4 times. But I noticed in it that he's really starting to get deep into things with them on certain things that he doesn't talk to anybody. So when you said that, that was what I immediately thought of, was some of the scenes in that second episode that I watched last night. So I find that really interesting that came up today. That yes, you're right. He doesn't tell everybody else those things. He tells his disciples those things because they're with him.
Right.
Maybe not 24/7, but 24/7.
Right.
And knowing who he is and hearing all the stuff and seeing him all the time. So it's a little different.
They're with him not just in terms of geographic proximity,
Right.
But also relational proximity.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, that's you're barking up the right tree, Renee.
Good.
Jesus communicates to people in the mode they're best able to receive, and the implication here, and this has been observed for centuries. In order to really understand the full meaning of a parable or any other teaching, you have to choose to follow him.
Yeah.
The explanation becomes, or the truth becomes most clear when we're in relationship with him. He does teach the crowds who aren't yet his disciples. It's not like they get nothing.
Right.
But it's only by following Jesus intentionally in a relationship with him, a growing relationship with him, that he reveals more and more of the fullness of his truth to his disciples.
Good reasons for us to get that bigger
right.
relationship.
Yep.
Thanks, Dr. V.
You bet.